In 1965, President Johnson and leaders of Congress and Vice President Humphrey came to the Truman Library, and they signed the Medicare bill and presented Mrs. Truman and I with the first 2 Medicare cards. And on that occasion, I met Bill Moyers. He was Lyndon Johnson's press secretary. And I said to him, "What's it like working for Lyndon Johnson?" And he said, "Well, Mr. President, I'll tell you. A couple of weeks ago, Chancellor Ludwig Erhard of West Germany was at the ranch in Texas for a barbecue. And he said to the president, to Johnson, 'I understand you were born in a log cabin.' And Lyndon Johnson said, 'Oh, Chancellor, you have me confused with Abraham Lincoln. I was born in a manger.'" That was Lyndon Johnson. Mrs. Wallace and Mrs. Truman and Margaret were sitting in the White House. This is right before she died. And she was reading the Kansas City Times. And lo and behold, she read that some old boyfriend of Bess's had become vice president of the Commerce Bank. And she said to Mrs. Truman, my wife, she said, "Just think, you could have been the wife of the vice president of the Commerce Bank."
The sculpture by this year's sculptor in residence, Dustin Baker, and I believe it's titled Somnambulist. Sorry, I don't know what the meaning was with that, but that's the artist title for that sculpture, and that goes to Ron Loftus. This one I can pronounce. Dustin Baker's sculpture called Transfiguration goes to Deb Kolarek.